I also don't like that a lot of times the onus is put on Black people to watch Black shows. I mean,
Mm.
hopefully it's a good product that anyone would enjoy. How many shows do you love and watch that ain't got no Black people on it? But that's also our conditioning in the society that
Speak.
we seek out entertainment. We don't necessarily seek out people that look like us because for so many years that wasn't even an option.
Yo, this is the Inflection Collective. All of us are connected, reflective, real life perspective, respected. The banter, the chit chat, no cap is big facts. So kick back. This here is done there, been there.
We're talking about canceled shows. The show Rap Shit, Issa Rae's show. It just got canceled after 2 seasons. It was getting good. It was getting good reviews from what I understand from season 1. But it's a ton of Black shows that are out there that got canceled as well. The Wonder Years, Grand Crew, which was a really good show. Black Lady Sketch Show, Winning Time, which was on Showtime, which I used to watch all the time. All these Black shows seem to be getting canceled. Now, you're in the industry. You're at TMZ all the time. Do you think there is a reason behind Black shows? Like white shows get canceled all the time too. But when you're talking about representation and us needing more good Black shows on television, why do you think that we can get the shows, but we can't sustain the shows and keep them on the air?
So I probably have a unique view on this. There's a lot of shows that got canceled, a lot of Black shows, but you also have to think because there aren't a lot of Black shows on the air to begin with, that when several get canceled, that ratio feels like it's much higher than everybody else. So it already ain't a lot of Black shows. So it might not even be that many that got canceled, even though you gave a nice list based on how many shows are on the air that got canceled altogether, what you would call a non-Black show. I also don't like that a lot of times the onus is put on Black people to watch Black shows. I mean, hopefully it's a good product that anyone would enjoy. How many shows do you love and watch that ain't got no Black people on it? But that's also our conditioning in the society that we seek out entertainment. We don't necessarily seek out people that look like us because for so many years that wasn't even an option. So I think whereas we support all things, regardless of the color, we invite people to the cookout nonstop. Okay.
Right,
but I think what is happening is not so much that Black folks aren't watching Black shows. It's either Black shows aren't connecting to other audience, which is, again, a bigger nuanced conversation. Maybe the advertising, the marketing, a lot of these shows, a lot of people hadn't heard of. A lot of them are on premium subscription streamers. So I think you have a lot more options to consume. I think everybody has a streaming platform and everybody doesn't subscribe. But I think the biggest challenge, which is a notion that this country, white people do not see themselves in shows or movies that have a primarily Black cast. So they don't feel inclined to watch. They feel like it is not for them. Whereas we know Ross, Rachel, Chandler, we know all of them when no Black people.
But do they know Regine?
Do our white counterparts, you're right. Do they know Regine, Maxine, and Khadijah?
Yep. And
I'm just saying it just doesn't go both ways, but that is a microcosm of society. Black people know how to assimilate. And as I talk about diversity, inclusion, equality, I try to explain to my white counterparts, don't bring me in the room to talk about Black people. I can tell you more about white people than you know, because I'm someone who has been in all spaces, right? So I'm well versed in Black people, but I also will argue, don't ask me about no Black people. We are not a monolith. Ask me about some white people. I can tell you about the rich ones. I can tell you about the poor ones. I can tell you about the racist ones. I can tell you about the allies. I can tell you about, the conservatives. I can tell you about the liberals, because I've experienced all of them. Y'all ain't even experienced all the white people that I have. And so I think that's just a microcosm of television.
It is, and it's a microcosm of society too, because here's the thing. When it comes to the world, it really is, and even though we've built this country and we are a big part of this world, it is still their world. And we've had to engulf ourselves into their world. White people don't feel like they need to engulf themselves into our world, even though.
But they don't. It's not just that they don't feel like it. They don't have to.
They exactly. They don't have to, like you said, to succeed. We feel like we need to cross over in order to succeed. But we as Black people, sometimes if we were to, all of us, and get into a whole nother rabbit hole with this, stick together and came together with our marketing power, with our spending power. If we finally came together and built this fist and weren't so divided or whatever, we could take over a lot of things. And that is a big problem. And a lot of people in society, white people, know that they got to keep us separate because they know how powerful we are together. Now, like you said, they don't feel like they need to come into our world, but they will take bits and pieces from our world and bring it into their culture. We just talked about Taylor Swift and the swag
our world
surf.
is the coolest world. There's no debate that our world is the cool world.
So they will take bits and pieces from our world, and then they will make it a part of the world, but they still won't engulf themselves in it. You won't see Taylor Swift,
Elvis Presley.
Yeah, exactly. So, but they've been doing that for years. Elvis took from Little Richard.
But that is the blueprint. And even specifically with Black television shows, we've talked about the CW or the WB or even Fox building their station with the Black audiences and then diverting from
and
Black
then crossing
programming.
over. And then crossing over. But right. So when it came to all these shows, there are so many shows that are out there because of the streaming, because of YouTube. People just don't even watch television a lot these days.
They
Not
really
even the
don't.
streaming channel. They watch YouTube channels. They watch the podcast. There are so
TikTok.
many options. TikTok, Instagram. They watch anything except television these days. There's so many options that it's kind of hard to keep that audience. That's the one thing. You mentioned the marketing. This is something when you're talking about done there, been that. I've been there before. I was on the Black News Channel. People asked for Black news. People were saying, hey, CNN doesn't represent us. MSNBC doesn't represent us. Fox News damn sure don't represent us, whatnot. We need something that is our own. I was a host, a TV morning show host on the Black News Channel, which gave us our Black stories, talking about our community, talking about our issues and our triumphs, whatnot. Guess what? Nobody watched that shit. Nobody watched it. You know when the Black News Channel actually started trending, when people actually started talking about the Black News Channel, the day
when they said
canceled.
Everybody was fired? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
When it was canceled. Now,
but I would like to say, I was a guest one morning on your morning show on the Black News Channel.
Yes, you were.
So I watched it that day.
that day. But what I'm saying is, like, you watched it because you knew me and I invited you on the show to come on, talk about, comedy and all that type of stuff like that. So we did all that type of stuff like that. But when you're talking about marketing and putting it out there and people knowing about it, I had so many people hitting us up on Twitter. Oh, I didn't even know this existed. We didn't even know this existed or whatever and stuff like that. So it could have been a better job when it came to marketing. But at the same time, when you ask for stuff, and this is where I'll disagree with you slightly when it comes to that. Yes, we need white people to cross over and watch our Black shows. But if you're Black and you're asking for good quality television, whether it's scripted, unscripted, whether it's a news show or whether if it's a reality show, whatever it is, if you ask for these good shows that are representing us in the right light and not just all the ratchet shit, which there's room for the ratchet shit, believe that. But if you're asking for good quality programming to be put on the air, we have to support it because you're not going to get that support over there. And guess what? If you start to support it and the numbers start showing that, guess what? White people will be curious and they will say, well, shit, I'm hearing all this stuff about The Wire. I'm hearing all this stuff about The Cosby Show, which Bill Cosby had already crossed over a little bit. Let me check out what they're talking about. And then they'll see that it's not just about or for Black people. It is something that everyone can relate to, and maybe they'll understand us a little bit more. So it takes us first to be able to go out there to support us first if we ask for it. And if that happens, the ratings go up, the ad sales go up. When the ad sales go up, then the white people who run these networks, these streaming channels, and all that in between and above and beyond will start saying, hey, we need more stuff like this. Until then, it's going to continue to get canceled, like shows like Grand Crew, which I asked for. Good show. If you watch it, Black people drinking wine, hanging out, friendship. Black men, positive men, not people that did drugs in jail or cheating on their baby mamas, anything like that. Nothing like that. Great show, good comedy, canceled after 2 seasons. We have never seen a show that has had pretty much a strong male lead cast with the top 3 shows with 3 male straight men. Nothing wrong with gay men. Don't get me wrong. We've seen that before. But straight men who have had a run of a show that has been more than 5 seasons, I believe. But we've had good shows like Insecure, which was great. I love that. Talked about Living Single, which was great. Love that. But we haven't seen that. Grand Crew was one of those shows that could have been there. But guess what? People didn't support it. And you know what happens sometimes, Eunice? What pisses me off sometimes is when we put out good shows, and I'm calling out some of my people, not all my people, sometimes we, Black people, some people in the Black community will criticize it because, oh, that don't represent me. That ain't me. That's boring. That's corny or whatnot. Even on reality shows, I was married to a person who was on a reality show, and you could call it ratchet all you want to, but she was considered the classy one, which she was, or whatever. Guess what she got called? Boring. That is not going to help us as a society if we continue to have that mindset. Some of us, not all of us, so please don't get it twisted. I'm not calling out all black people. I just think some of us. So we got to support ourselves if we want the others, to come and support us.
I agree with everything you said, but it still is such a microcosm of the world, right? Because just in today's society, as far as entertainment, there's just so many options. Then when we grew up, you know, you had 4 channels, and if you had cable, you know, if you had an antenna, you know, different things like that. So I just think the audience is just split across, you know, just so many different places. I also think the audience doesn't exist like it used to. I think all the advertisers and the networks and the streamers are figuring that out, that, you know what, we have the attention span that's less than that of a goldfish, which is less than 8 seconds, right? And so am I going to commit to a whole 22-minute show? You know, but beyond that, the challenge is again, I'm always take it back to what's in our fabric. Is when you meet one black person, you haven't met all black people, right? The same with the inverse, right? But the challenge that black people have always had, especially with television and movie, is how we are portrayed. Who is this person? Why is he a maid? Why is he a garbage man? Why is he unemployed? Why is she a single mother? Why? And you know what I'm saying? And so that's just a conversation that I don't think is ever going to end. You know, questions about the color purple and is it considered a success? And people are saying we're tired of seeing trauma. We're tired of, and I get that.
But a musical.
People, right. Sometimes you support things that you like. Sometimes you support things just because it's your people. Sometimes you support things because it's your friend, not necessarily you enjoyed it. There's a lot of reasons why people do support and don't support. And I think it's unfair to just say black folks ain't watching black shows and it's y'all's fault that all these black shows are getting canceled. I think is a lot of contributing factors into at least this last slate of shows being canceled, for sure. It's a nuanced idea. I just don't think it's just, you know, one size fits all. Black folks don't support black folks. I don't think that's the answer.
And I know we support each other. We appreciate everybody who supports us, black, white, and different, you know, Asian, anybody, gay, you know, straight, everything. I love it all. So please continue to support us on the Done There Been That podcast. I had to throw that out there as well. But yeah, you're right, man. So
we love
one
everybody.
thing about it. So we
but
have to.
Let me say this. What this made me think of. Let me say this.
Okay.
When you said we ask for it and then we don't support it. You know what it reminded me of?
What's that?
When that dude asks you for your phone number, but then he don't call. Okay, go on to the next topic. I'm just going to the next topic because I'm just saying it happens. Because when you said it, it was like, why ask for the show and you ain't gonna why ask for my phone number and you ain't call?